excited about talking to you about layer mask. Now, as you can see, I've got some pictures of masking over here. We'll be using some of these pictures, but let's talk to you about masking, okay? And masking is a term that can be kind of confused and definitely is for more advanced Photoshop users, but I would have to say, you who are listening to this video, well, I think you're advanced. So let's go click on New File, and I have it as 1000 by 1000 by 72. Okay, here are the parameters. So everything's going to be in pixel, width and height 1000, resolution 72, white background, everything else is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and press Create. Alright, so here's my canvas, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the rectangle tool, okay, and I'm just going to, I guess, create something close to a square. There we go, something like that. That's good enough. And then what I'm going to do is create a new layer. As you notice right here, we have one layer, so I'm going to go Layer, New Layer, okay, and I'm going to call this one Black. Okay, there it is, and that's because I'm going to go to the foreground. I'm going to use the black foreground that I have using the paint bucket tool. I'm going to go ahead and fill it with black. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is create another layer, Layer, New Layer. Okay, here we go. And this time I'm going to call it Red. Now I went ahead and I didn't, I'm going to go ahead and change it right here. So you double click here in the layer, change it to red. And you'll notice that the marching ants, we never got rid of the marching ants. Hopefully you did not either. So in order for this to work, the black has to be on top of the red. Now there's no red yet. But once we select the layer, just like so, those marching ants, that selection here, will apply to the layer at hand. So I'm going to go ahead and change the black icon to red. There we go. And now I'm going to take the paint bucket tool and color it red. Now you'll notice that the thumbnail here in the layer tells me that there is a red layer beneath it. And if I hide this layer, well, there's my red. Alright, so now what if I want, okay, let's go ahead and deselect. So select or Control D, select, deselect, there we go. Okay, so there's no more marching ants. So let's say, for instance, I want to go ahead and make it so that the red layer below is appearing somehow, some way inside, it's appearing. In other words, in order to do that, we have a couple ways of doing it. The first way is the eraser tool. Here is the eraser tool right here. Okay, so it's, let's see, it's about midway down, right above the paint bucket tool. Now watch what happens when I do this. First of all, the eraser tool is another form of a brush tool, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, okay, as you can see right here. And I'm just going to go and start doing this. Now it looks pretty cool. But of course what happens is that this is called destruction. This is very destructive to the black layer because all you really did was you sliced this thing. So you kind of ruined that section of the graphic. Okay, well what if I don't want to do that? What if I want the red to show through but keep the black block intact? So I'm going to go ahead and go to my history palette and sort of like, there it is right there. I'm going to undo everything. Yep. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use what is known as a masking layer. Here it is right here. Okay, so hopefully it'll show up. I'll go ahead and move this up a little bit. So there it is right there. You see it says Add Mask, Layer Mask. So what Layer Mask does, okay, is that you can go ahead and try and show the layer below it through the top layer without destroying or hurting or ripping into this layer right here. You'll notice, okay, if I move in, that the layer mask is actually selected because you have these white lines. You can also click on the black box over here and you'll notice that it is not. So anything, basically if I was to use the eraser tool or apply any kind of changes, only this would be affected. The layer mask here is to be regarded as another element, a complete different block. Okay, so now watch what happens. Now the two tools that I want to use, okay, is either black or white. Those are the two colors, okay? And so if I use black, watch what happens. As long as I have this layer mask selected. Now watch what happens. I'm going to have to choose a brush, not the eraser tool, so the brush tool, sorry. So the first thing I do is select the brush tool, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of losing it there. Alright, so this is a good size, so I'm going to go ahead and decrease. Okay, there we go. And now watch what happens. Again, this block here, this layer mask block is selected. And look at that. There we go. Okay, so there we have it again. Alright, so there we go. Not the greatest design, but notice what happens over here. The black block over here is untouched. It's not destroyed. It's not destructive. And basically what I did was basically use the black color to color in this layer mask so that the red would show through where this black area is, the black coloration is. So you see? Now if I want to reverse it, I'm going to go ahead and change the icons here so that white is the foreground and black is the background. And of course keeping it at the brush tool, and now look what happens. I return it. So if I made a mistake, okay, so if you use the eraser tool and if you made a mistake, it's hard to get it back unless you undo it. And that could be a problem, you know. So what we want to do is we want to be able to create a scenario whereby it doesn't cost too much labor, too much time to bring something back if an error is made. So as you can see right here, okay, not the best job. There we go, almost done. So you notice here now we return to the white layer mask. Everything else is intact. And that, my friends, is what the layer mask is all about. It is really another eraser tool. And the only two colors that we want to be concerned with is white and black, or black and white. In the next lesson, I'm going to show you how to apply this using regular images. So stay tuned.